Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. Just to give a bit of context, why I'm laughing is our producer panics every time because Jamada just lies on the floor.
No. Okay, so for the record,
what are you doing?
We're trying not to waste a lot of time, obviously, as well. I'm obviously on a standing setup right now. My desk is right next to me, so I sit down during the breaks. And our producer gets a bit worried because he thinks I'm not here. Anyway, I'm super hyped about this game.
Yes.
For many reasons, both personal and, of course, just objectively. For one, I'm so happy to see my old team back. Like, not MNM, I'm talking about the top side that MNM currently have. Aragon, Gdanica, and Van Gogh all played together on MNM in summer 2020. Only managed to make it to the semi-finals, unfortunately for them, and I guess myself technically that time around. And they're back. They're here for the summer rerun, and this time they've got a new and fresh bot lane. I think both players coming off the EBL. I can't remember my prep off the top of my head because I lost it during all my internet connection issues. But on the other side, for Bulldog, I think this is a roster that has so much potential. Just because it... Now, one thing I don't normally take into account quite frequently is actually solo queuing. But almost everyone on the Bulldog roster is like 500 LP or higher, which for the UKLC is kind of bloody bonkers.
Yeah.
And I've done a little bit of research and backgrounds into some of these guys. And obviously Thomas Go and I think Jacob's played in the UKLC before. If he hasn't, he was definitely in the UKEL, at which point I believe he went over to the EBL, actually. So he went over there, had maybe 1 or 2 splits, and now he's back on Bulldog. And Thomas Go and Jacob together, when they were here, they had really good shots. Thomas Go obviously was on Barrage last time around. Back on Bulldog, hoping to not go 0-14 this split, because of course the last time he was on this org, it wasn't to the greatest success, but this time, Lulus, a sort of rookie to the UKLC, relatively-ish experienced jungler with him in the mid lane, it's going to help him out a lot, I feel, and picks and bans already gone through. You can see on our screens, a lot of standard bans. First pick, Tristana, and on the other side, we've got the Kai'Sa and a Xin Zhao pick, which I'm pretty excited to see from Bulldog.
We're not going to see the Volibear follow-up here for Gdanica. I was curious whether or not we're going to see a Viego, but we're not seeing a Viego on day number 1, as it looks like so far. Unless they send that Volibear into the top lane, or potentially lane Viego as well, is technically an option as well. So we'll see what the next pickup's going to be. There's going to be a Nautilus paired with the Tristana, kind of a denial pick as well as anything. And there's going to be the Shen.
Yeah, so
it could go support, could go top.
I love this Shen pick. Shen is actually a pretty powerful champion on this patch. He recently got changed, though it ended up being a net buff, whether it was intentional or not. I can't remember how they worded it. But his ultimate shield now scales off of his max health, or maybe it's his bonus health. Either it just results in these even larger shields than he actually had available to him previously. And you start seeing builds like, Sunfire Cape into Titanic Hydra and even a Warmogs, because Warmogs also had its passive change to not a maximum bonus HP, maximum HP, but actually just a flat bonus HP, which is a lot easier to achieve in a lot of the builds. Bans flown through pretty quickly. Yeah, Bulldog bans kind of signal that Shen could just be top as opposed to support, because it is technically a flex. So I'm gonna say I expect Thomas Go's pick to come out here to maybe hide the flex of the Shen, just because it can fare well into the Nautilus as well. Though they don't necessarily have to hide it, and they can just pick up their support. And MNM banning out 2 supports, which can definitely have a lot of success into the Nautilus in Braum and Leona.
Alrighty, well there's the Alistair lock-in there to go paired up with Jacob on the Kai'Sa. We'll see what the pickup is going to be here for MNM, what they're going to look to try and add in and round out their comp with. They're looking for a top laner and a mid laner, unless this Volibear is a lane Volibear.
Don't forget the Tristana as well, AD or bot. And in this scenario, either one could... I was going to say, I think that maybe you want to put the Tristana into this Kai'Sa, just because we kind of know this is a bit of a storied sort of AD to AD matchup. Tristana can be pretty oppressive into the Kai'Sa. And you just secure a safe and stable mid lane matchup. Now, top lane, I think something like Aatrox here would make a whole bunch of sense for how I know Aragon likes to play the game. You could have also seen something like the Gangplank, just because you can match the global presence of the Shen, and of course you just scale through the moon. But it would have been a little bit risky into the Shen and the Xin Zhao at the same time, so he's opting for a little more, lane bully. And for Bulldog, covering the Orianna, I think that's a fine matchup to just lock in. You've got a lot of melee champions to facilitate. You've got obviously the Shockwave to follow up on any engages or to start fights outright. And it means that MNM, with the sort of short range that they've got from their melee champions and Victor's sort of medium range, they've all got to watch out for the ball, otherwise they could just get minced through.
Yeah, the ball's going to be really impactful, especially because we're seeing a lot of teams start to fight around these second/third dragons. So that's going to be a really important thing to keep our eye on as we move in. But it's still a little bit early because, you know, it's kind of been the thing we sung a lot about today, but hasn't actually come into fruition by our first game. Which something we saw in the NLC was the teams that got ahead early were typically the teams that ran away with the game. Now, that is strictly not been the case for our last 2 games. I still stand by with that is probably the strongest way to play at the moment. So what team do you think kind of has the ability to play this game early, or do you think both these teams probably just want to chill for a bit?
I feel like both of these teams have similar side lane setups where the jungler can attack either side lane. So it's going to really be dependent on which jungler starts where. If the Volibear wants to start on the top side to path down towards that lane in the bottom side, he really can, but I think he might want to try and avoid Zinzao, so we could see a level 1 where we're sort of scouting for information and the Volibear tries to look away from it, because Zinzao is a very powerful skirmisher, even to the point where he probably can beat out the likes of a Volibear in an extended trade.
Yeah.
Though, of course, once you start talking about lane priorities, things get a little bit different. So it's going to be pretty dependent, I feel, on the jungle starts.
Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on jungle. That's going to be our early game. We've seen the Orianna Victor matchup. We've seen that a lot. We talked about a little bit about the Tristana Kai'Sa matchup in the sense that we think Tristana's going to be here to try and shut the Kai'Sa down. You've got a Nautilus as well, really good champion to enable that. Obviously, Alistair, great at disengaging / engaging. But obviously, that early level, especially level 1, can be a little bit rough. One name that I'm a bit curious about is this top lane, because I'm not overly familiar with the Shen Aatrox lane. So give me a bit of a breakdown of what we kind of expect to see in this lane.
So Shen deals a deceptive amount of damage. I feel like unless you play top lane, you're actually not familiar with Shen damage. Yeah, he's borderline a lane bully in some scenarios. So especially if we see the Ignite Shen come out, which honestly, because some Shens are so proficient at their lane management, they will actually just run Ignite instead of teleport and just have full lane threat. And it just sends your lethal rangers through ridiculous heights. If somebody is at 80% HP, if you've got the correct Spirit Blades out, you can just outright, 80 to 0 champions from level 4 onwards. But if he's running a teleport, Aatrox can sustain through it a little bit once you get to sort of level 4 or 5. But I think it's very much a back and forth matchup, and it's going to depend relatively heavily on if Shen has Ignite and which junglers actually decide to play towards the top side.
It's one of the things I remember from way back when I used to cast with Frozen Dawn, who used to be an MNM coach way back when. So we're going really far back here.
And it's my predecessor, probably. No, probably.
He was Orcs' predecessor. It was a while ago.
I'm talking from a coach perspective, but yes, that's true. Duh. If you said he coached MNM, then
but he was early MNM.
Okay.
Back when MNM were winning UK tournaments. That's how long ago he was coaching for them. No offense, mate.
No. Say sorry to Calvin.
But I remember one of the things that you told me back. I mean, obviously things at the state of top lane changed. I think this was before Camille was released, so that long ago. But I remember him telling me a while back then. He said Shen is one of the best duelists in the game. He said the only thing that would actually out-duel it was Fiora back in those days. Obviously, things have changed because we've got to Camille, but he actually does pretty well into Camille because he can block the true damage and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things that we don't see that much Shen anymore. Like you said, does do a deceptive amount of damage. So it's going to be an interesting lane. Got that Grasp of the Undying, so see what he's going to be able to do with this. But we're on to the Rift for our 4th and final game of the day. Unfortunately, this isn't NLC. We only have 4 games in a day, not 5. Although with all the technical issues, we'd be ending very late.
We may as well be at game 5 by now.
Pretty much.
We're approaching, but
we are ending around NLC ending times today.
I mean, I will say, don't forget the NLC starts an hour earlier.
It does.
And we've also been relatively blessed with limited technical difficulties on day 1. Day 2 is a different story. But yeah, close to the same time. interesting to see how this bottom lane will perform on MNM, just because obviously we've seen this top side of Aragon, Gdanica, and Vango before last year, but of course the Jumper Clocks edition is very much new. The pairing here for this rerun.
Well, as the laners do meet up, the expected happens. MNM going to bully and pressure their way up. Alistair, kind of not a champion at that level 1 mark. Like I said, not really going to be that great in a 1v1 versus the Tristana as well, just due to the Akafi and Rain getting eaten up by the minions, like so. Although the minions do aggro onto Joppa, so he's going to lose a fair amount of health there.
And not only that, of course, the Bulldog bottom lane were the ones to leash. So second to lane means that MNM get control of the bottom lane. And with Gdanica pathing down as well, MNM slowly trying to shove this in. But with Tristana having E skilled up, it's going to push a tad faster than they perhaps would have liked. But the Volibear will secure his bottom skull most likely, and Xin will probably trade it out on the top side as Shen has got priority in this lane for now.
See what this means and what these lane priorities are actually going to afford to the junglers. Lilith is going to be on the top side for the crab, and Gdanica is going to be on the bot side for his crab. That's where their lane priority is as well. So you kind of expect it to be pretty much a crab trade-off. And, you know, you did say earlier you wanted to see Lilith be a little bit more proactive on the Zinzao, try and maybe catch that Volibear out early. Clocks is actually coming in for the flash. Wow. That's going to force Thomas to flash.
That's big. That's a really big. You're very happy trading your flashes as support for the mid laner, especially when you've got a Volibear jungle who can very easily just kind of walk into your lane. Now, I will say, because Gdanica's opted for a full clear, he hasn't yet done the Skull Crab, and he doesn't have bottom lane priority. It might not matter, as Lulis on this Xin has actually opted to walk up into the top side. He actually has a sweeper, so he didn't have a ward to drop, and instead will just reset. So he's going to be faster on tempo. Gdanica looking like he wants to make a play on the bottom side, potentially, with support, but was on vision, which they just cleared out. So we'll just try and pick up the skull. So they're just going to be up on tempo for now in terms of camps cleared. But gonna have to just wait and see if they try and make a play MNM towards the mid lane, and see how Bulldog actually try and protect this Orianna. Thomas Go, of course, had a pretty successful split, especially for him coming off the back of the Bulldog split.
My flash over each other, but Clocks is in trouble. Gad's coming in. They're looking for the knock-up with a 3-point strike, and that's going to be first blood already picked up. Will the Scout's going to go down, though? No, he's not. Yes, he is. Gdanica gets them all off. And now Lulis and Gad going for the fight, but that's going to be becoming wind becoming lightning. And Gad's going to have to flash away to safeties. A 1-for-1 fight. That was tragic.
What a comical... I want a replay.
We will get a replay, friend. They literally just flashed past each other and went, uh-oh. I think Clocks went uh-oh more, though.
And he tries to interrupt it with a flash ball. Golden. But the point is, Clocks ends up in the middle of too many members too quickly for his bottom laner and jungler to actually follow up. And now they do still pick up Will the Scout, but at the end of the day, Gdanica still had to flash away himself. The play wasn't quite as clean as it would have perhaps, or could have perhaps been. So a little bit unfortunate, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a 1-for-1 trade. Gold is dead even. It's more about who blew summoners, and the answer is just about everybody. So got to pay attention to positioning all the more now. Whoever ends up in these kind of positions to make plays happen first, likely to have a bigger advantage at the moment with all the CC in the game.
Waves are in a bit of an awkward spot in the bot lane at the moment. It's kind of stuck outside Jacob's tower, which means Jumper and Clocks do need to be somewhat careful, though. Remember, it is a Tristana, so can naturally shove waves fairly easy thanks to that E. Mid lane's been relatively chill. We have still got Thomas Go's flash down for the moment, so curious to see if Gad goes over there to see if he can try and find a bit of a free kill. They find the two-man headbutt pole. There's Shen coming in. Clocks locks down Jacob, but that is going to be all she wrote on that one. Teleport was interrupted by Aragon, who popped the world ender to get closer. And now Joppa's doing a bit of damage to Jacob. Almost gets the full 5 off on the satchel.
Yeah, Flash also in the top side, so nobody in this game, bar Vango, who's been having a bit of a freebie so far, actually has that summoner spell available. must have just broke out into an all-out fight in the top side too. After the stand denied was cancelled, but Gudonica, off the back of that, with the teleport advantage in the top side, is going to start this dragon. So this should be picked up, though. Lulus is walking down towards the bottom side, and Alistar, if he checks the river, he'll find it out. But Gad just sneakily is not on Bulldog vision if he entered through the tri-bush, which I believe he did. They just don't know what's going on. So.
I think it would have been really hard to do as well, because Vango had first rotation into the river.
Yeah, exactly.
Bot lane had first rotation into the river. So I think Lulus, even if he had that knowledge that it was going on, probably wouldn't have checked anyway. So I think it was pretty smart for them not to go checking, knowing they didn't really have the pressure to be able to contest that dragon. So first dragon will go in favor of MNM. Bulldog, though, not willing to give too much up. There's a 300 gold lead to Bulldog right now.
Yeah.
Seeing the item spike, well, the item's starting to come in, not spikes. Whip has been picked up for Aragon. Noon Quivers on the AD carries. That's pretty much all we wrote on that one so far. We're a little bit away before we start to see any more items getting picked up.
Yeah, and I want to see now how Bulldog react to this dragon not being there on the bottom side. Of course, it can be very hard to skirmish into a volley bear, but when you have a Xin Zhao, you also want to be fighting too. So who's going to have priority on the Herald is my major question. MNM have crashed this wave at a relatively good-ish time if they want to try and start this Herald, but Gad isn't going to be there on spawn. Clocks, however, is already in the top side, and they've got lane priority in the top side as well.
Yeah, I think they were setting up for this one. The way the bot wave is
the way the bot wave
has to deal with it, so they're just setting up the vision for the moment. Neither mid lane is quite there.
Yeah, mid lane is going to sort of meet at roughly the same time. Will the scout smell that something could have been going on in the top side? And actually, I think Monica.
Hello. Has that buster shot. Jacob's trying to find the turn. Okay. That is the exhaust burnt by Jacob and his ultimate. Although Will the scout is in the area, he gets himself the headbutt pole. He's got the ignite.
He's gone the wrong way.
Actually getting killed by a support. Joppa not gonna let that happen. That's two summoner spells burnt onto Joppa, and he's fine. He's gonna live. He may lose a couple of plates here. Gad's just gonna secure the crab though. So overall, other than losing a pretty healthy wave here, Joppa can be pretty happy with how that turned out. He's gonna try his best to hold it. Doesn't really have any kill pressure on him now underneath his tower. Yeah, so he should be able to catch most of this wave still.
Vango's coming down here. I think Jacob is about to have flash up. Will the Scout's doing a really good job at trying to keep Vango away.
Chaos Storm, not gonna pop it.
Oh. Just in time. If Will the Scout just didn't quite spot out Vango or wasn't in position to interrupt that rotation, Jacob's flash was on cooldown. So it's been a really nicely timed play. But a good job from Jacob to pressure Joppa into nearly dropping a majority of that wave. Picked up a plate for himself as well. But whilst all that was going on, the Rift Herald was picked up for MNM. So they're going to have that trading tool in their pocket for now. The gold lead still relatively the same as it was before that sort of chain of play. So no harm, no foul really done.
Probably been one of the slowest pace early games we've seen.
Yeah.
And I know we've had a lot of scaling teams, but like there's still been action early. We're 10 minutes into the game, 300 gold lead. They're just farming up. They want to get this gold. They want to get these item spikes as Vango. He's somewhat careful. Will the scout may get spotted out here with a ward? They know he's there, and they may just jump over the wall. The flash Gad can come in, jumps in. The lockdown's onto two. The Chaos Storms are a lot of work. Vango gets shockwave, but that's the hook onto the cow. And Will the scout will pay the price. Vango gets a double kill.
It's the best bait in the world, baby. He has no idea that anyone's there. I mean, honestly, it's a little bit greedy from Vango to even walk into this side of the map just yet. He had members coming that were very nearby, but face checking first, probably not the move. I think especially because of how the bottom lane play ended up happening. It was Will the Scout and, of course, Lewis that were always going to have first move into that area, but he gets lucky. He doesn't get bursted down. The headbutt goes back over the wall. The shockwave connects, but there's just no damage from the Orianna yet. So it doesn't pay out to Bulldog to look for that play, unfortunately for them. It's turned on his head, but I mean, hell, Vango didn't even have to flash for that.
No, he actually Chad moded that. I mean, we'll have a look at the replay once again and see how Vango got away with this.
Yeah, borderline daylight robbery? I don't know. It's the I don't know even. They don't really have the damage.
They headbutted him over the wall.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think without Thomas Go being there at the start of the play, it's just a bit too difficult to burst him down. I think that's just kind of unlucky. I think the idea is good. The timing is tight, but acceptable. But they just couldn't quite lock down Vango.
So, as you can see, we're back on camera, which means we have had a pause. We have had some issues, although on my end, the pause is ending. I'm not sure if we're ready to go, but hopefully it was just a quick little ping issue, as it typically is most of the time. Gremlins are well and truly dead. My producer's typing, giving you good news. Yes,
we are ready.
We are ready to go. Thank God for that. All right. So, little issue, getting back onto the game. Yeah, now Vango's set up pretty good. He's got a blue buff. He's got that double kill. See what MNM can now do with this. They are ahead pretty significantly in gold. Actually, I had to have a quick toggle and look at where we are for the individual laners. Pretty significant lead in the mid lane now. 80 carries, slightly ahead for Jacob. That's kind of down to that plate that he was able to pick up. Joppa doing a good job not to go down though, so it could be a much bigger gold lead than it is right there. And in the top lane, pretty neutral right now.
Certainly so. And Vango picking up these 2 kills could be a big deal, because certainly, I think in some of the last time we saw him here in the UKLC, it did feel like, you know, Vango giveth, Vango taketh away. Sometimes you got these really insane Cogmore games, sometimes you got that, some not great games like the Twisted Fate one, where he just wasn't having a happy time. He was kind of getting picked on, I think it was against Barrage, if memory serves me right.
Oh,
but especially on a champion like Victor, who can become so oppressive into champions that want to come into you, like a lot of this Bulldog roster wants to, and already you can see some of the damage coming out from this champion. It gets downright oppressive. If you're a Kai'Sa, you can't dive into a Victor, exhaust or not, because if he full combos you, you're either dead, or if you've exhausted him, you're going to be about 30% HP.
Yeah, it's really, really nasty. Now, with the fact that he just half health will the scout, there's no way Bulldog can contest it.
Absolutely not.
So they're going to step away. We're looking at an Ocean Soul this game.
Yeah.
Already got that Infernal on Mountain, so a little bit extra damage and a little bit extra resistances for MNM. Can't really sneer too badly at that one.
No.
Vango actually outputting some significant damage, and it's going to be a real problem. His wave clear is going to be spiking pretty hard right now. He's got that Death Ray upgrade, so he got that extra kind of burst of damage to follow up on it.
Yeah, and
Gad's just stripping away the jungle.
Exactly. And with the Ocean Soul being in this game, it's such a good dragon for both teams, I feel like. There's so much frontline available that even though I don't expect these fights to be very slow-paced, I expect them to be very explosive. So in that sense, the Ocean Soul might not give a whole bunch of value in that kind of sense. If you're talking about, hey, there's an engage, and then you sort of disengage, and the Ocean Soul heals them back up, and they can look for another re-engage, that's where you can find the value in this dragon in a game like this, where you just sort of chip away at chances. You don't go, you know, full ham at these ones. So Ocean definitely going to be of high value, or higher value than you may initially think. Now, Aragon, a little bit overextended, perhaps kind of has an idea, backed up pretty early, knows his wave's in a bad spot.
Had World Ender, had Flash, and was being chased by Eco, so it's just going to step away. MNM not giving up anything here. They've now pulled the gold lead in their favor. And it looks like Jacob might be on the receiving end of a hook. No, it's a cow, but they've still got that depth charge. They've got the teleport to follow as well. Jacob getting chased onto. A lot of damage is going to get burst as Joppa jumps in forwards. Here's the Shen. They're trying to get the shields off of the Killer Instinct. Jacob is going to be squashed by Aragon. And Thomas is now made his way in. Shockwave only onto one. Joppa very, very low.
Oh, the gold drinker
He's sustaining through absolutely everything. Cope pumps in forwards. Gets himself the kill onto the AD carry. They finally turn around and there's the hook. Vango's coming in with a Chaos Storm. Thomas Go is being cooked. Slowed down. One more tick and he's dead. Just about able to survive. Vango flashes forward. Vango just about survives. MNM come up massive in the team fight.
Yeah, they find 4 Xin Zhao's on the opposite side of the map. Godunika's still here from his escapades in Xin Zhao's jungle, so even if he wanted to be here for this fight, he probably well could have been. MNM come up big. It looked a little bit dicey when the hook initially hit the Alistar, but the CC was there. The Shen helmet came down too, and honestly, it delayed Jacob's death for a very long time, so props to Bulldog, the bottom lane, and the patience on the Shen to not ult immediately, to wait for the value of the ultimate to kind of gain, because look how big, oh wow, okay, it's level 1 shield still, so it's not massive, but you still kind of get the idea. It pulls MNM further in, and if they overextend for the chase, if Bulldog kind of retreat closer towards their tower, instead of trying to potentially go for this kill onto Aragon, they underestimate the sustain. It could have definitely played out a little bit differently here for the Bulldog side, but it doesn't. And MNM, they capitalize, and they capitalize massively. 4 kills, 2 into the pocket of the Aatrox, I believe 2 more, maybe, no, 1 more into Van Gogh's pocket. I'm not actually sure where the third kill, maybe another kill went into Aragon's pocket. I'm not sure. But Aragon being 3-0 maybe suggests that he did pick up all 3 of those kills, with Van Gogh picking up that last one.
As we come out of this team fight into a slight lull in the action, MNM are not willing to let there be a lull in the action. They want to be active here. They've got that depth charge available. Thomas is smelling a rat as he places a Scryer, and MNM reveal themselves. Thomas is just going to have to step away. This tower could be doomed if he hangs around underneath it, but I think MNM are more interested in taking this Rift Herald.
Yeah, looks to be the case. So far, been quite a big fan of how MNM have played the sort of side lane pressure. A lot of respect on strong side, weak side, but they don't have teleport advantage right now, so starting up a play here could be risky without complete priority around this area. And even Ko is here already on the Shen in the mid lane. So if they want to start this one up, they can. Aragon's still down in the bottom lane. I'm not sure. Is he holding a freeze down there? Can we get a look at the Aatrox? I think that's maybe what he's doing.
Yeah, he's freezing.
Okay, so just means Shen is missing out on some resources down here. Going to be holding the wave. And he's going to be holding this for a... Well, the dragon's spawning in 30 seconds, so he might break it. But
it's a bit weird to set. Yeah, he's breaking it.
Yeah, he's breaking it now.
To set a freeze up and then just be like,
no. So he's actually doing the right thing though, because he was holding the freeze initially, because if Bulldog went to commit for the play on the top side, then it's just,
okay.
You know, it's a small win in the sense of they're missing 2 to 3 waves on the bottom side for the Herald play. Which, when you think about it, this is the second Herald. It's only a tower that could maybe be picked up. There's no plates. You're missing out on a couple hundred gold and experience. He's doing the right thing. He breaks it now because they want to fight for this dragon. They've got priority. They've got first move into the river because of this, and they're not on vision.
Oh, Lucas is solo already. Aragon jumps forward. They've got that Chaos Storm ready to fire. Van Gogh's going to put it down. There's the Scornbringer. And Will the Scout is going to get absolutely squashed. Joppa jumps forward, goes low, but able to survive this and step away. MNM find themselves a quick 2-kill, losing their support, but they'll get the dragon.
See, and wanted to mock him for breaking the freeze, but the fact that he broke it, moved up into the lane, means that they were allowed to find this kind of Aatrox plus Victor flank engage into the Clats from the mid lane. Really nice stuff from MNM all in all. And I think Bulldog just not respecting the fact that they didn't have enough vision. You can see 2 control wards just above the Dragon Pit, and not enough vision really around this side of the map for Bulldog in general. Some of it might have been cleared out in the meantime after that fight, but it's... I mean, yeah, I guess maybe the control ward I don't think can necessarily see Aragon and Van Gogh if they snuck in from the bottom side, but you can see Lulus, the first to check, the first to die. The Shockwave didn't really get any, meaningful follow-up damage. And it's only clocks dropping. And as a Nautilus, you're happy as long as you do your job, you press your buttons, you set up the rest of your team. You're not too fussed about the death. And it's 1 dragon away now from Seoul for MNM. Bulldog, unfortunately, so far for themselves, they haven't been able to find successful plays. They've kind of been on the back end or the responding end of a fair few of them, especially over the last sort of 5 to 10 minutes. They haven't really been able to find an angle to attack. We said that the side lanes are maybe, for both teams really, the places where these teams could attack, but Lulus wasn't really able to find an in on either side.
Nasty hook. Will the Scout's going to lose half his health and just step away. Yeah. Rift Herald is going to be secured for the side of MNM, and we'll see where they decide to use that. Mid's already pretty chunked, so they may just hold off on using it mid. Just try and take this top lane. Gaz in the area. And yeah, I feel like using Rift Herald is pretty much wasted here, as it's pretty much guaranteed at this point.
How low is it? I can't quite see it underneath the...
Oh, it's... There you go. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, you can break that in a siege. Yeah, so... Yeah. Herald might not even be necessarily drop top if MNM feel like...
top, actually. You got demolished,
They could just feign the pressure. You can see the fog already on the top side for Bulldog. If we could zoom out and actually get a look at the vision. Again, there's nothing here, practically. You've got a ward in the pit. You've got that ward where Will the Scout... Well, Will the Scout is practically a human ward right now. You don't know who's in the river waiting in the tri-bush, so they just give up the tower for free. So that trading tool's still available. And you might just see it thrown away for the mid lane, to be honest with you, at this point. Because unless you kind of set a push to one side of the map, maybe it gets put on the top side to pressure for when the soul comes up. That's the only thing I could think of. Yeah, MNM just using the pressure of fog of war really effectively there.
The reset's coming in. Joppa can just fast push this wave and step away or take the tower. It looks like with Will the Scout there, bit of a scary moo cow. So
yeah,
just gonna let the minions do a bit of work to this tower. And I really feel like using Rift Herald here is a waste, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Almost Phantom Dancer finished up onto Joppa now.
Yeah, he's almost there, and Jacob, he is a little bit behind on the item spikes, hasn't been able to pick up that 1 kill. CS difference is non-existent practically. I think they're finally going to have to give up this tower. Let's see if they drop the Herald to carry on a push, maybe. I mean, it's one of those awkward games where unless they find a pick on a side lane like this, Herald usage could be pretty difficult. Especially at the time.
You said it could just be a pressure thing.
Yeah, it could be a pressure thing for now. But honestly, I'm loving the map movement in the mid game here. There's not really too much I can say that Bulldog can realistically do about the current state of the game until they've got more items. I just feel like MNM at the moment, they're running stronger champions at this point in the game. They've hit their spikes sooner. They're sort of running the map pressure a lot better than Bulldog are. Coat just kind of has to flash away from that. And his Orm is still going to be is going to be back by the time the Ocean Soul spawns up. So it's not even really that big a loss. You're just getting Shen's flash for free. Bulldog just don't really have a response, Jake. There's not much for them to do here.
It's a painful one for Bulldog right now. It's not over, but the gold lead is pretty impactful for this point in the game. We can see that kind of reflected in the items. You've got 2 items on Joppa, 2 items on Vango, 2 items on Aragon. There's that entire item discrepancy is really going to be painful for Bulldog right now, as realistically, no one on their team is actually even close to finishing up their next item.
No. And to sort of make matters worse, the one man that you probably want to try and lock down in Vango for Bulldog has a stopwatch now, and he's got flash, so he's going to be even harder to actually get your hands onto. So Bulldog, bar a miracle engage, you know, headbutt pulverize onto 3-4 members into a shockwave, it's going to be so difficult to sort of handedly win a fight unless they find, you know, a flank angle, that miracle engage. That's all they've got going for them. It almost feels like. Now, we will say they've got 2 hyperscaling carries, so it's not like they're out of the game. But this Ocean Soul is going to make life a lot harder if MNM end up, you know, taking a fight here, winning, and picking that one up as well.
Well, MNM are clearing out the vision. They're getting closer and closer towards that Ocean Soul. There's the Rift Herald. It's going to get someone up in the mid lane just to buy a bit of pressure. Will the Scout get pulled in, and he's going to get the Shen'o onto him, but Vango able to just jump forward as Clocks gets the lop off, and everybody is untouched as far as the carries go. They jump in onto Vango, but remember, he has that stopwatch. Joppa jumps over the wall, and Jacob has to flash away. Joppa face plants the flash as Vango will look to chase down Jacob one last time. There's the Void Seeker, and it is a rampage for Joppa.
It's okay. He throws the thumbs up.
You know what he's done.
He knew. He gave Vango the heal to give him the movement speed at least. So it's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, quite frankly, MNM during the dead time of there being no real objective to take, yes, the Baron was up, but it's not an objective they want to start up when the Ocean Soul's coming up soon. They just use the time so effectively, consistently moving pressure from one side of the map to the other. Side lane management, you saw Aragon slow pushing the top wave to make sure that by the time the dragon spawned up, you know, Coat was probably going to have to be topside, or they'll have to at least miss that wave. All of these small micro things from macro building up slowly, and it's just all of this pressure. And Will the Scout, he just gets hit with an Infernal Chains and pulled back in. Has the Shen ult dropped on him? The Shen ult isn't used on a carry, and that's the key thing. The Nautilus ultimate zones out so many people, and then there's just too many people in this cluster inside of that choke that just kind of get burnt down. They try to dive onto Vango, but he's got the stopwatch, and it just stops him from being bursted down. Heal assist from Joppa to allow Vango to secure the kill onto Jacob. It's just very clean play. Very impressive stuff from MNM, to be totally honest with you. Bulldog actually haven't picked up a single neutral objective or tower. I don't think they got the first Herald, did they?
No, both Heralds went over to MNM.
Yeah. They are 3 kills short of a perfect game, right?
It's very close. The teleports are coming in onto that flank. Well, the scout's trying to do his best. Not quite close. And Aragon actually annihilating Thomas Go's health bar. He is going to get slowed down for the moment as they get himself a kill onto Vango. Shockwave
wide
is whiffed harder than the flash we just saw.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for Bulldog. There's not much they can do. I think that was one of the few windows they would have had, and they couldn't even find their mark there. And the base should just be cracked open. Look at the damage. So, Vango is almost double everybody's damage in this game.
Oh.
And this isn't a scenario where it's like, oh, it's a bruiser into a tank lane with sustain. This is just Vango's dealing this much damage. This is not inflated damage numbers even, so that's kind of crazy.
Vango hurt.
Vango hurt, yeah. And
Vango.
Vango go bango. And as sort of said earlier on, Vango giveth, Vango taketh away. This time Vango really is giving MNM a front foot forward in this one. And it is sort of, in a way, a bit disappointing for me from the side of Bulldog, because this is a roster that I will say I looked at on paper and I said, this roster could actually be underestimated. Now, of course, I'm not talking overreactions. Day one, MNM are playing this game about as cleanly as they could probably ask for.
Well, I mean, remember, MNM out of every team in the UKLC, they have the most approved right now. They're the team that just got knocked out of the NLC last season. So they're not. This isn't an academy roster. This is MNM.
This is MNM now. Yeah.
So they have a serious amount to prove if they want to climb their way back into the NLC. They were there at the beginning of the tournament. They've been in the UKLC when it was our Tier 1 league since day one. They've been a team that have kind of been a staple to the UK scene. And sure, the UKLC is the UK scene, but this isn't the main league. This is Tier 2. So they have a lot to prove, and they really need to show that they've got what it takes. And a near flawless game might be the way, as Aragon does find himself momentarily caught out, but Gadanica just clears the wall, and Aragon follows up. That's so much damage to the Shockwave, only hits the carries aren't even here yet. Aragon takes out the Oriana, and Joppa's now on a killing spree. Reset after reset after reset is coming in. Post is caught out as well. They've got everything they need to finish this game up as a triple kill is given over to Aragon. MNM will take this game. The towers go down, and Jacob is the only one standing. MNM put Bulldog in the doghouse.
Put them in the doghouse. Bulldog leave this game in a whimper. And I don't think it's much the players. I just feel like they got outplayed on the in the mid game. This isn't even like a, oh wow, like Bulldog just didn't play like well. This is just MNM kind of just outmaneuvered them on the map. And whenever there was not a lot going on the map, MNM were always doing something either small or big. And Bulldog not winning out on that small skirmish at the very start of the game, you know, sort of wholeheartedly after clocks kind of overextended, was kind of enough to give MNM sort of an edge. And the fact that the game kind of stayed sort of
look at
quiet.
That damage.
Look at the damage. The gold graph also is very telling of how this game also went.
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing but praise for MNM. It just feels kind of bad. Bulldog almost didn't get to play the game after about 8 minutes. Like, there's not much else. There's no.
I mean, it was an incredibly one-sided game. I think that felt back more into the playstyle we'd kind of predicted and talked about at the beginning of the day. They played aggressive, they played fast, and honestly, Bulldog just couldn't keep up. Their pace wasn't there. So honestly, it was a really, really good game coming in from the side of MNM, and you know, they've got a lot to prove. We said it at the end of that game, this is a team that really want to requalify. They need to make it through Telia. They need a good season here. If they can go undefeated for the entire season, it's a massive statement for this team. But there's a lot of teams who I think also have the capability to go undefeated. I mean, we spoke to Resolve at the beginning of the day, and they were like, it's going to be a perfect split. We'll have to see. I'm really excited to see Resolve versus MNM. There's a few other teams I'm quite excited to see as well. So it's gonna be a good one. We are getting ready to do a quick interview with Joppa from MNM, the AD carry, but I'll just get the technical stuff sorted on that one front. So we have a little bit more time. I'm curious. Do we have our drawing board ready, or are you deciding what play you want to look at?
So I'm currently, because I wasn't at my desk. I may have missed a drawing board message, but there is something here on the drawing board.
Go on, Max, bring it up.
I'll do it anyway.
Let's go.
It's just a funny play. All right, I'm happy that this is the one on the drawing board, even though we could have had a different fight. The timing on this is just spectacular. Clocks is channeling his Hex Flash. Will the Scout? Oh, is he channeling it out of the bush? He is.
Wait, he's out of the bush?
He's out of the bush. It makes so much more sense. I didn't even catch that in the replay. So that's why Will the Scout goes for the Flash Pulverize, but we'll get the slowdown on it.
Oh no. You gotta do him like this.
He missed. So, okay. It's not Will the Scout's fault. He could have just been faster on the trigger. And that's just kind of how it is. Gadonika's obviously also waiting in the river. He was just here and he just cleared vision in the river. He'd done the Skull Crab and he'd returned back to this bottom side. They're not expecting Lulus to be here, but Lulus has done 5 camps plus a Skull Crab and reset, and he's back on the bottom side to either full clear or look for an opportunity like this. So honestly, it's a good read from Lulus, or it's very telegraphed for Lulus to be down here to respond to a potential Gadonika aggressiveness play. And Clocks, because of the Hex Flash angle, he gets headbutted back in. He does die first. Gadonika able to help drop a trade out in the kills onto Will the Scout, and then they just retreat. But it just ends up being a neutral when you're playing Xin Zhao. I mean, hell, when you're playing Volibear in the jungle too, you want these kind of early game plays to be one-sided. Yeah. And in this case, when it's neutral and then you just get out macroed from this point on, it's just very hard to play the game. And again, props to MNM for coming out and playing a very clean, by-the-books League of Legends game.
A near flawless League of Legends game as
well. 3 kills short of a perfect game. It's very juxtaposed against the hectic, bombastic style of the previous iteration, Spring of MNM we just saw.
But I mean, I think
to see.
If there's one thing to take away, we do have a whole bunch of very, very good teams here in the NLC, and the UKLC, not NLC. And you know, we had that last split, we had that split before. We saw a lot of teams playing pretty close in their games. You know, we get into that final week and things honestly get a little hectic. We don't know who's going to win, and I'm hoping, and I've got the feeling we're going to get another split like that. Now we have Jopper, the AD carry, standing by for MNM for an interview. So Jopper, first of all, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Feeling really good.
Good. I want to ask you a little question, just because we did a bit of a meme drawing board. At the beginning of that game, how did you feel when your AD carry, your support and the enemy support just flash over each other and just basically leave you isolated with the Alistair?
Yeah, it was a weird feeling. We had a feeling that Xin was there. We wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And then Clocks is like, yo, I'm engaging. Their support flashes. Then it's like a mess, and I don't know. It was 1-for-1, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So I want to ask you about what it's like playing with. Obviously, sort of. This is new to you, or new to the UKLC. You've had a couple of splits worth of experience prior to this as well.
Yeah.
What's it like playing, under MNM, and especially with this top side, because they've played together as a team before under the same organization? How's the sort of path to progression been leading up to this game? Because this was honestly one of the cleaner games of League of Legends I've seen played in UKLC to memory, like just in general. So how's it been sort of progressing with these guys?
Yeah, it's been really nice with coaching staff and everything. Everyone is trying their best. Everyone has the same mindset and improving and performing the best they can. And I think we showed in this game.
Good. Well, I mean, I want to talk a little bit about the kind of the meta and the way you guys think, because I know I sound like a bit of a broken record because we harped on a lot about it, but you were one of the only teams today where we saw play a very fast-paced game. I think the first kind of like 10 minutes were a little bit more quiet than we're used to seeing. Are you guys kind of favoring like playing really fast and loose, or would you rather sit back and scale? What's kind of like your thoughts on the current meta?
I think it's just playing for early, getting a lead, and just snowballing through it and just closing out it cleanly. And I think most of the teams are scared at the beginning and are still trying to figure out how to play as a team, so the games are sloppy and longer. But I think as the split goes longer, we will see like more one-favored games.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, mate, on the win. Thank you very much for joining us for an interview. We will wish you the best in your future games and hopefully speak to you soon, all right? See you later.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, Yamada, this is the point of the show where we round up the day. Let's talk a little bit about our games we had going on today. Any kind of teams that, I mean, a lot of upsets.
I mean, as far as predictions go, upsets.
Look, man, I'm gonna be real.
You copied mine.
I copied yours. I 100% copied yours. It's your fault.
You could have. Look, I was caster cursing everybody, but predicting my old team MNM. That's just how it works, all right? So, 1 for 4, but really 4 for 4. Resolve.
We got 2 right because I guess my right one counts, but under that also you got 6 wrong. So, how you want it?
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting games. I think Resolve definitely alongside MNM, again looked like our stronger teams of the day. By performance, of course, it's hard to gauge off of one team and one opponent. But yeah, certainly looks very good. This Enclave versus Lucent game was so hectic that I even managed to miss half of it. And Viperio against the near side thing's blocking my... I'm so sorry. I'm so tired now. Envision, this game was... Yeah, Envision could have won. I feel like they just didn't have the right kind of tools to deal with the Xerath and the Jinx come the mid game, and unfortunately that lack of true hard engage and having to rely on flanks just wasn't enough to secure them the win. And this game right here, which we just saw, MNM just came out and told Bulldogs that you are puppies, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah, they look more like Chihuahua than Bulldog today, didn't they?
Yeah, and I will say, because you kind of touched on the interview, Joppa touched on the idea of everyone's really scared to play at the start of the split.
Yeah,
this could be a pretty big advantage for this top side for MNM because they've played together for a full split, and knowing from experience, they're also good friends. So just sort of slotting in a new bot lane to that is certainly a very scary thought. So I'm excited to track their progression anyway. Resolve as well, picking up their first win. Very excited to see how the academy team does that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how MNM do. But let's have a little look at the score for today and see how everything kind of rounds out at the end of today's games. We can see that Resolve, Enclave, Viperio, and MNM all won their first game of the tournament, but there's still so many more weeks to go. We obviously got more games coming up tomorrow. If we can, let's bring up tomorrow's games and see what games we got coming up here at the UKLC. So tomorrow, hold on. Tomorrow we have Ambition versus Enclave, MNM versus London. That's going to be a doozy. Resolve versus Viperio. That's going to be a doozy. And then our 2 new boys. Oh no, not 2 new boys. Bulldog versus Lucent. Wait.
I think we've got a very exciting lineup of games tomorrow. I feel like Enclave still have a little bit to prove because that win was just quite frankly not convincing. Actually, Envision and Enclave lost in a relatively... No, Envision had a lead, Enclave kind of didn't. So they lost in won and lost in reverse styles. So I feel like Enclave still have something to prove. Envision need to try and close out their game 1. And then across the board, just exciting looking matchups by the name of it.
All right, I am quickly just looking up some things on my camera, on my computer, because we actually have a whole bunch of content coming on the UKLC behind the scenes, which isn't actually happening here. It's happening over on other Twitch channels. These are our teams. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of extra content. So if you want to get your teeth really sunk into all of the action and all of the storylines that we're progressing over this tournament, you have Lucent over on their channel, on their Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lucent Esports. They have a show called The Rundown, which is basically a weekly roundup of the UKLC games, featuring special guests from the League of Legends community providing analysis and insight on the games. That'll be happening every Monday. I'm not 100% on the start time. I'm assuming it's after our show is done.
The show,
because that'd be silly. And then obviously Viperio as well. They have the Viperio All Access pre-game show, which I assume is happening before the game. That is over on twitch.tv/Viperio TV. Basically just an overview of everything that's going up before the games. That's on every broadcast day, I'm assuming before the show. Otherwise, it's not really much of a pre-game show.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have London Esports. They have the UKLC after show. This is on twitch.tv/London Esports. It's a after broadcast breakdown of the day, and that's happening every broadcast day. So Sundays and Mondays. And then obviously on Super Weeks, they'll have another show going on. So bunch of action going off the channel on other channels, so make sure you do follow all of those guys on their social media channels on Twitter, so you can kind of get your insights on what's going on. And while you're at it, you might as well follow NLC LOL. We have memes galore going up at the moment, like Bulldog getting naked on the beach and falling in the ocean. What's the stuff going on? Maybe Jamada can get naked. We'll find out. Guys, thank you very much for joining us here at the UKLC. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place for more action for day number 2 of the show. We'll see you then. Good night.